Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dylan here, and I'm doing something new this week. I've been working on a project for the last few months. My mom and I started it a while back when she was visiting, and I never got around to finishing it. So I figured I'd take a week off from doing Have a Drink with Me, and I would work specifically on this art project. I haven't really been creative lately, so I think this is a good chance to do it. So, arts and crafts. I'm going to do art while chatting with everyone that I can. And I'm going to let me see if I can get the chat back up. I don't see that here. Anyway, uh, for my art, Star Wars Pod Racer, and for my craft, I'm going with Cerveza Artesanal, uh, Bichola. And I'm going with a double IPA Grand Canyon Brewing Company. So, here's what I'm working with right now. I started to build, trying to figure out why I cannot see the chat on this. This is a new issue for me. So I am just going to try to figure out how to get the chat up. There's always an issue. I believe that that's just, you just gotta have to kind of deal with it. Oh, here we go. Editor, studio mode. Is that the one I want? No, I want editor without studio mode. Editor, whatever. We'll say we're okay. All right. So I was working on a pod racer, and I took old bottles from vitamins and old cables and little pieces from toys and hair ties, old old kits for model cars. I took apart other pieces from other vehicles and other toys and started to come up with this, but I am going to take a break on this for now as I'm going to be compiling a full video. It's very dirty. It'll all be sprayed and it'll look beautiful after. But I am not going to work on that right now. What I want to work on is this. This is a Paw Patrol jet ski or a boat or something. And this is essentially going to be what we will have the Star Wars 3.5 figure sitting in. And it will be attached to the other pieces that I have already created. So what I'm going to do is crack open a beer. I'm going to start with the Grand Canyon Brewing Company Deep in the Green Double IPA. This is something that my wife and I found while on a road trip to see the Grand Canyon with my parents about a month ago, 2 months ago maybe. And yeah, I have not tried it yet. My wife tried it and she loved it when we were at the bar. And I am not much of a beer person. I would have rather done a craft cocktail. And oh, a road trip to see the Grand. Don't you worry about that. About a month ago. Cool. So I loved Grand Canyon Brewing. They had a very good calzone. It was super cheap and it was massive. So I'm going to crack this open to get started. Yeah, pretty good. It's not as tough as most IPAs would be. So I am going to start with this. The glaring issues that I'm seeing is we're missing kind of some pieces here. So I want to try to fill those in. And then also I want to be able to cut these wheels off. Actually, I don't think that'll be a problem. That'll be fine to have rested. But this is actually the front of the piece. So I'm going to, I like the shape of it more if that was the back. So I'm going to have it this way. And then I will use pieces of a lot of stuff that I have laying around. Got a lot of junk, but I've got some old caps, some hair ties that I use for wiring. I have some old kit pieces. A lot of this stuff here I already kind of sorted through, and it's stuff that I wanted to use. Some old Christmas bulbs. I think these would be pretty clever used somewhere. But I'm going to start now by gluing, well, cutting first, cutting and then gluing sheets of this foam that I think is going to work well to kind of go over all of this. Shout out to my Aunt Jackie. I don't know if she's on right now, but yesterday was her birthday, and I told her that she needed to have a drink with me, and she saved it for today. So, Aunt Jackie, if you are on, cheers. So, how I'm going to do this is basically just set this here and make a mark of where I need to cut it there, and basically where I need to cut it here. And since this is foam, it'll cut very easily, but I'm going to leave some excess so I've got room to play. And then once I've got the first one cut the way I want it, I will use this as a template so that I can get a similar one done for the other side. So it can be cut a little bit, maybe like 1/8 of an inch. And that'll go nicely around to here. Might be a little bit off. Oh no, we're good. So if anyone is doing any arts and crafts along with me, let me know. For some reason the chat isn't working, but that's Streamlabs for you. The last episode of Have a Drink with Me, I had Erica Wusu on, and somebody commented that it looked like Tom Goes to the Mayor because it was skipping every few seconds of the video and then it would freeze. And that's all because the resolution on the video was too high for my computer to handle. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of draw around, and then I'll follow this, and then that should glue perfectly on. So as people know, I had spine surgery in December, and my parents came to visit, and my mom and I spent a lot of nights working on the actual engines for the pod racer, but they had to leave, so they went back to New York, and I haven't messed with this since, which is unfortunate because I have a lot of fun doing this stuff, and hopefully I can do this a little more often. Let's see. All right, so I'm liking that. I'll have to cut a little bit off the other side, but I'm going to use that as the template. And a lot of people have been wondering what happened to my hair. I cut it off. I was planning all along to donate my hair to children with cancer. So that is exactly what I did. And I will be donating it here over the weekend. I'm going to get it all together and send it out. But I've been in Mexico for the last week, so I haven't been able to. And I'm glad that it was long enough, because I would have hated having long hair while in Mexico. It was very hot, disgusting. The weather, not Mexico. All right, so I got these, and what I'm going to do is start to glue it on. And as I glue it, I will probably see where I need to trim off some of the excess stuff. I can't forget to drink, so cheers. But I will start to glue. I got this from Harbor Freight. I think it was fairly inexpensive. But I have not used this glue yet. Hopefully it dries quickly, but I'll put a little bit along the outsides here. And then once it's in place, I'll try to reinforce it later. Oh yeah, that dries pretty quick. So a fun tip, if anyone's trying to do this kind of stuff, you can actually use baking soda and the crazy glue to actually bond it quicker and a lot stronger, which I will eventually do. I don't like this, but I'll fix that later. I just want to get this initially covered up, and then I'll eventually go over it with a lot of small pieces and parts to finish it off. So I'll just do the same thing with the opposite side. So while my mom was here, we did a bunch of trips to all the thrift stores. Savers is one of the best thrift stores here in Southern California. And we were buying, oh, it's already sticking. We were buying a bunch of old toys for about $3.99 each. And we spent a few days just taking them all apart. I'm going to keep gluing this to my hands. I just know it. That's why I don't have my wedding ring on. But yeah, it's very difficult to get children's toys apart. There's so many screws and pieces and parts that I didn't have the tools for. I probably should have taken the sticker off now that I look at it. But whatever. And the last time I worked on this, I had glued my fingers together so much that everything was just crusty glue. You can see I already have it all starting there. Fun. And for some reason I just wiped my forehead, and that is probably not smart of me. So anyway, that's just about set. Let me show. I want to show the bonding of the powder. So I find it easy to put a little bit of, I think it's baking soda. Yeah, baking soda here. and then put something down so that I can get the excess off. But you basically just take it and you sprinkle it on, and it immediately reacts with the glue so that it's not going to stick to my fingers anymore. But the problem is you do get like a crusty residue with it, but it becomes pretty strong and you can just sand it right down after. All right, I'm happy with that. Basically, I just don't want to keep gluing my fingers. So I'm going to put that in there pretty heavy. If anyone does this kind of stuff who's watching, share your channel. I think my mom and I watched probably a full month's worth of kit bashing and arts and crafts videos on YouTube while she was visiting. And my poor dad had to watch with us. He's a good sport. What's up, Dad? In his contract, he's required to be shouted out to in every episode of everything I do. So, that is good. Good enough for now. Come back to that. Cool, so that is good to go. I want to cover this stuff here, but I want to see if there's something that I can use from this to try to cover that up instead. Let me clear this off. Oh, that's smart. Very cool. And we'll just do this. So there's a lot of really awesome pieces in here. I like these a lot. I don't remember what it went to. I think it was part of a old truck, an old truck kit that I bought. Yeah, I don't think any of this stuff is really going to work right now. So I'm just going to use more of the foam. I think it was to fill up that last little bit, and then I'll go over it with this. And I have to drink. Don't forget, hydrate. So I will grab more of this, and I don't like the oval shape because there's not a lot of oval style shapes in Star Wars. So I think I'll probably just wing it. And I do like that, but it's not exactly what I want. You can see I already got glue all over that. Also, I'm shooting this on an iPhone 11, and it's pretty impressive quality. All right, so I don't like that shape, but I will use that later. So just a little bit longer with an angle to it. And that's definitely not going to fit. No, it isn't. I might just go back to this. Yeah, that works. This video is going to be a lot of me doubting myself. So, thanks for sticking around. All right, so these will go here. Probably just like this. Do the same thing here. A little bit. And I guess I like it like that, so. I'll have to put a little bit more glue on there. But it's working out. Also, I like that there's a dog bone logo right there. I'll have to cover that up. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, the Streamlabs chat isn't showing up for me. But I mean, I have an issue every single time I use Streamlabs, and I wish I never used it to begin with, because it's not great. I will say they do have good customer service for when everything does go wrong. Very helpful to fix things that are not working, but not very clear on how to actually get it started to begin with. I know I have some shout outs here. So obviously, I'm going to say hi to Peace Blaster. He's got to be around here somewhere. If he's not, then I miss you. I miss you, bud. Again, I don't know if my Aunt Jackie has hopped on yet, because I can't see who's watching or how many people are watching. Very annoying. But happy birthday to my Aunt Jackie. Cheers again. All right, I'm pretty happy with this so far. And it would be cool. Yeah, that's very off. So I'm going to remove this. It's probably not going to come off too easy. Yeah. It sucks, but that's on me for trying to do it crooked. Also, I don't have a plan for this. I'm just kind of doing it as I go. So I'm going to try to match this again, but now that it's glued on, it's going to be a little more difficult. I can at least mark it there. And there's a little bit after, so about right there. I'm going to cut this crooked so that I get more than I actually needed. Then I can refine the edge after. Wow, I screwed that one up. Let's just do a big square. Yeah, I should have done that to start with. Then I can mark it all. Oh, wow. That's pretty spot on. And I'll mark it here. And behind. Basically this corner. Okay. Try to make a more precise cut on this one since I keep screwing it up. All right, so now this should be pretty close. All right, yes, it is. So I will reapply the glue. Also, I have my microphone, a TV in front of me. I have my webcam, two lights, an LED panel behind me, and my computer. So it is incredibly hot in my office, and I am sweating all over the place, and luckily it's all off camera. All right, this is so much better. All right. That makes a lot more sense. And again, this is all going to be covered. I'll probably cover it up in wires and stuff. But I'm happy with the placement. Also, you can see nice little drop of sweat right there on my hand. And I've glued this foam to my pinchy boy. You can see all that glue just pouring right out. All right, let's make a mess again. I was just going to pour that in my hand. There, that's already setting. I need it to set here. Good thing about Star Wars ships, or pod racers specifically, is that they race in the sand. So they would be covered in muck and grime, and I'm gluing my fingers together even more. For anyone watching this, I want to know how you feel about it. Is this something you're enjoying watching? I did a model kit probably in 2019, and I didn't talk at all in it, and people said, wow, this is actually really soothing. But I don't know if my talking is soothing or what. Okay, I feel good about this. Now, knocked my microphone over. Now I want to find interesting pieces to try to cover this other hole up. I'd like to find something that's a little symmetrical. Oh, this would be fun to have on the back. Back would be here. So yeah, I'll put that probably somewhere around there. this has a weird rope or something attached to it. But I kind of like that. Still doesn't fill the hole though. Yeah, maybe nothing's going to really fit just yet. I should probably just cover that hole. I don't think I have any pieces on hand that would actually fill that correctly. Maybe this? No. This section here I went through, and these are parts that I really want to include. I'll come back to this. All right, I will cover this up first. Might be nice just to kind of put a square in there. And then I'll figure something else out with it. So I have a full video that's going to be happening showing how I did the entire engine, both engines that will eventually attach to this and whatever. But for this one, I just wanted to do the live stream because I've been doing the live streams every Wednesday or Thursday. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I figured I don't have to have the base necessarily part of the video, the final video. But then I realized I could probably include this anyway. I'm going to be going over the voiceover anyway for that. So again, I'll fill this in with something else. I might have some wires pouring through because this will be the front and then this will be the back. Yeah, luckily all this stuff is pouring right off. That might be my favorite part so far. And hydrate. All right. Since this is going to be the front, I want to cover up this Paw Patrol logo and these little blades there. So now I can definitely open this because I have two pieces that I think will fit perfectly. Hubcaps. I had two of them. But also a good thing in Star Wars is a lot of what they do is not symmetrical for a specific reason. Because George Lucas, when he was creating Star Wars, he wanted the Rebel ships to be a lot like the old Hot Rods in how people would fix them up and make them all different and customize them. So if you look at the good people's ships in Star Wars, there's a lot of broken, janky stuff going on. And it's for that exact reason, because they didn't have the money to do it in Star Wars. And they had to find parts that they could and basically kit bashed ships together so that they would have a fleet. And that is just a fun little Star Wars fact. And that's why all of the Empire's ships are a lot clearer or cleaner because they had the money to do it. I think this works. It's a little off. I'll hold off on that. Cheers. Oh, this is something I'm really excited about incorporating. So my daughter uses Similac. That is the baby food that she's on. Some ASMR. But they have these really awesome shapes that are very Star Wars. So I'm hoping that I can cut these off somehow and include them, maybe 2 on each side. This is one of the jokes that I said the first time I did stand-up, and it applies here. I bought a coping saw recently, and it's helping me through a lot. But I really do have this saw. So I'm hoping I can kind of cut through this a little bit. It's not that thick. Also, anyone who's done stand-up, I would love to know what your first joke was. And just so everyone knows, that joke that I told did not land. Nobody cared or laughed. But I laugh about it all the time every time I see a coping saw. So that's all that matters. Also, it was very interesting. There goes that blade. There. It's very interesting being alone in a room doing art projects and basically talking to yourself because the chat is not working. So I can't tell. I know people are watching because I have the notifications for it, but it does not tell me if anyone's commenting. But I know you guys are there, and I appreciate you guys for checking this out. But it's very odd being alone doing this video and basically just talking to myself the whole time. All right, cool. So that took longer than I wanted it to. But I would like to get... That's about the right size. Really, the only reason I want this is because I want to include my daughter in this. So I'm going to try to just cut down. And try to get some of these shapes out. What's up, Dan Mitchell? Good to see you, buddy. Dan's one of my best friends from high school. He actually makes a living designing toys, Star Wars toys, and other things for Hasbro and other companies. And I have some of his toys on my shelf, right over there. He worked on a lot of Marvel stuff, and he did a lot of Star Wars stuff. He's very talented. Everybody loves him. And also Jacobo Olmos, old wrestling buddy. We went to wrestling school together back in 2017. Yeah, 2017. Had a lot of fun with that guy. I know I'm going to cut myself if I point it toward me. Also, I could probably just use scissors to cut through this now that I'm thinking of it. It's a lot of work just for this stupid little piece that I probably won't even end up liking. So I like this nub. I like the way that it's got a little bit of texture to it, but like not too much. I want to include that on the side here. Oh, there we go. Obviously a ruler is going to work. Cheers. So, again, if you guys are ever in, oh, geez, Williams? I think it's Williams. Williams, Arizona? I think it's Williams, Arizona, but go to Grand Canyon Grand Canyon Brewing Company. Get a Meat Lovers calzone and try a flight of their beer. They have a pretty good selection. That's coming from someone who does not like beer. I will say that this one specifically is very filling, like more filling than a typical IPA. Yeah, it's thick and rich. And I'm excited to get into the next one after this, because that is from my recent trip that I just took, going to Mexico for, I guess, spring break. I don't know if adults get spring break, but all right, so I am definitely screwing this up. I'll just keep messing with it until it feels right. Oh yeah, I have some shout outs that I wanted to make and some stuff I want to chat about. Next week, I'm very excited. The return of Ever Maynard to have a drink with me. They joined me in 2019, I believe, maybe 2020, for season 2 of Have a Drink with Me. And we talked about TikTok, and we kind of picked it as a joke topic because we both hated TikTok and we thought it was very goofy. But then the conversation ended up being a lot deeper about childhood and what we grew up on and what's important to, you know, our generation and how things change and stuff. And it's probably the most coherent episode of Have a Drink with Me that's ever been done. If you want the least coherent episodes of Have a Drink with Me that have ever been done, find season 1. I believe Star Wars episode 1, 2, and 3, which is one episode, and then the New Year's Eve episode. Shout out to Tom Flynn, one of my favorite people, who started Have a Drink with me. We got too drunk. This isn't going to work, but it's been fun cutting through it. Tom and I had a lot of fun with Have a Drink with Me, and the episodes, we used to record them 2 at a time, so we would have we would have had our first drink, which in this case was picklebacks for the Star Wars episode. So we did the Empire Strikes Pickleback, and then we did Force Locos, where we had four locos right after doing an hour and a half of picklebacks. So you can imagine how the Four Loco episode went. And also, I don't remember what we talked about before with the New Year's episode from 2015 when we first started the show. But we recorded 2 episodes, and New Year's Eve was the second recording of that night. So it was a lot of laughing. And I don't know if Tom's watching. I might get a notification. But oh, love that guy. He and I refused to watch a lot of the episodes because of how much we couldn't remember. And that was kind of the beauty of it. And shout out to Sammy, former producer of Have a Drink With Me. They were on 3 weeks ago. We did a power hour and talked about WrestleMania, which is coming up this weekend in 2 days. Another fun person. Oh yeah, old Have a Drink With Me days were awesome, and anyone who got to be a part of that in a live show is truly lucky. I am currently trying to round this out. I do like this now. Also, I just realized I only wanted to go an hour tonight. So I got to finish up this beer and move on to the next one. But yeah, the original Have a Drink With Me was crazy. And Ever was able to be a part of the show coming back when it switched from a live comedy show at Surly Goat in West Hollywood to basically just a remote show. And then we've got Julian Stern's going to be back on soon. Anybody who watches the show might have an idea of what we're going to be drinking and talking about. But the episode with Ever next week, we are going to talk about The Golden Bachelor, which was an incredible show. And we are going to drink whiskey. And that's going to be fun. That'll be obviously a more intellectual driven episode. And then on the 18th, we have possibly an episode. Still waiting to iron out the details. But basically, Have a Drink With Me, hello, is going to be back basically just every Thursday until something comes up. So I haven't mentioned this yet. The reason that I'm working on this this pod racer, I almost said podcast, is because on Monday, for the Key to All of This stream that my best friend Tim and I do every Monday, we're going to talk about pod racers and pod racing, Bunta Eve Classic, basically everything. So I wanted to do this to promote that, and I wanted to do that episode to promote this. That was a lot of work for this little piece that I don't even love. But Mondays we do the Key to All of This, which is a positive Star Wars podcast. Tim and I have been best friends since Have a Drink With Me live shows in West Hollywood. And he actually was the officiant at my wedding. I'm going to glue this on now. But exciting stuff, since this is Star Wars that I'm working on. There's some new Star Wars news that's out that I'm a fan of. This is not my crazy glue. It's this one. was wondering why it wouldn't come out. Tales of the Empire. There is coming out, I think, May 4th, which is very exciting because Tales of the Jedi was a very good miniseries on Disney Plus. Anyone who follows Star Wars and wants to know more about little things like Qui-Gon and Count Dooku being master and apprentice, Tales of the Jedi was great. We also have the 25-year anniversary of The Phantom Menace, which I just got my tickets for, which I'm going to see on May the 7th be with you. Cheers. I'm going to finish this right now so I can get on to the next one. Here we go. So, Bichola 7.7 Brute IPA. So, I was just on a cruise to Mexico last week, which is why there was no streams. And we were in Mazatlan, and there was a port that we stopped at, and they had this basically in a mall. So, cool. So this one is more fruity. The other one is like a thicker oat tasting one. But this one's fruity. It's a lot lighter. So I actually like how this turned out. Basically, I'm going to cover this entire thing in this kind of stuff. But I wanted to make sure that I added that in specifically for my daughter. One other item that I will absolutely be including is this somehow. Anyone who's a fan of Have a Drink with Me and knows me at all, you will know that I always have a 99 something in my pocket, and I sneak them everywhere I can. So I will somehow use this. I don't know if it'll be the cap or half of it, but I will try to add it in. Not will try, I will add it in. So I am liking this. I still hate this. That might be easy to just cut off. No, it won't be. But I found these. I think these will work. I don't remember exactly what the front of most of the pod racers looked like, but I'm not trying to recreate a specific pod racer. Just trying to make my own for no reason other than I think they're the best part of Star Wars Episode 1. And I'm surprised that we have not gotten pod racers back. I guess we had Cobb Vanth refrigeration using one of the engines that looked like Anakin's in The Mandalorian. Maybe I can find something better. Maybe I can do like a plate. No, that's a dumb idea. Because they still have to be aerodynamic. Oh, this actually really works. So this is actually the back of a pickup truck. So the cab would be here, and the bed's here, and then this is the back of it. But I like this shape, and it almost fits like perfectly. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I just have to cut with my hobby blade. This is flatter. And I'm going to try to use all the pieces that I have left over for something else. There's, I want to shout out to Studson Studios, Bill Making Stuff, Boylai Hobby Time, and Gamey Builds. You know what? Craftsman as well. They do this kind of stuff, and they release a video like once a month, like start to finish, building this, whatever. And I would assume it's their full-time job because they get so much done, and I can't believe it. Back to this. Cheers. All right. So now, yeah, I really like this. And I'll try to fill those gaps, but I think that this is like the perfect shape. So using my glue, put some here. Oh, put some here, and here, and then let it drip all over the place because I used too much. But set that there. Oh, that tries quick. So that's literally just glued to this little nub on both sides, but that's pretty solid. So I feel like that's pretty cool. I should have brought paper towel up here, and I did. And I can get rid of some of this excess stuff. All right, so what I will end up doing next, which will probably be off camera, is I don't know, I kind of like that it's like a grill. So maybe I'll add some wires coming through a little bit and then leave this kind of open, but I might close this a little bit. So maybe if I had like that, I don't know, we'll see. And then this kind of stuff would go on the back. Yeah, I'll put that on there now. One thing that you will all learn from these videos that I make, my station gets very messy, and I'm very cool with that. I've done a couple of these videos, start to finish. I made the cantina entrance from Mos Eisley, so Star Wars: A New Hope. Everything is sticky right now, and I guess I haven't released the other one, but the other one will be coming shortly. I created Finn from Star Wars as a bad guy to go with an episode of The Key to All of This that Tim and I did. Also, you guys will notice with arts and crafts, I'm drinking. So, my speech gets goofy. Oh yeah, that's fun. But I said I would try to go about an hour. So once I glue this on, we'll finish up this drink and we'll say our goodbyes. Cool. I will let that dry. I will put this glue away. I will put a cap on my knife. And I will say cheers. Thanks for joining me. You know what? I'll put the camera back on. I'm very sweaty, but thank you for joining me tonight, everybody. Had a good amount of people joining in. Sorry the chat didn't work. I'll try to figure that out. Streamlabs is broken always. So thank you and cheers.